More information tonight. The man who carried out the terror attack in New Orleans had suspected bomb-making materials at his home, and he reserved the vehicle used in the attack more than 6 weeks earlier. That's what law enforcement officials told the Associated Press today. They add, authorities who were searching the man's home in Houston, Texas, found a workbench in the garage and hazardous materials that were believed to have been used to make explosive devices. They say authorities also determined that he booked his truck rental on November 14th, suggesting that he may have been plotting this attack for weeks. And joining me now to talk more about the latest on the investigation in New Orleans, also to discuss how ISIS recruits homegrown terrorists, Washington Post reporter Joby Warrick. Joby, glad to have you with us. Thank you. You wrote an article about this today, beginning your focus on the suspect who planned the attack on the Taylor Swift concert in Austria back in July. Talk us through that, if you would, to start.
Yeah, a lot of our viewers will remember this. This was back in the summer, in August. Taylor Swift was doing her big European tour, and then there was this vague terrorist plot which forced the cancellation of the concert. A young man was arrested. There were some accomplices. And so we had gone down the path of trying to figure out how this plot was structured and what it was all about. And as we're doing this digging, along comes the events in New Orleans on New Year's Day, and we're just struck by the similarities, including this sort of the very intensive planning, the gathering of materials, the attempts to make bombs, but also the radicalization, the inspiration that these people get from ISIS, even without necessarily a direct connection or direction from ISIS. They still look to the group for ideas and for a reason to do it. Yeah,
you started to connect the dots. What were some of the similarities that maybe kind of flow through this idea of self-radicalization?
Well, what's interesting is in both of these cases, you have individuals who were not recruited by ISIS, at least as far as we know. These are people that had their own frustrations with life. In both cases, their lives were pretty much upside down. They both had financial problems, relationship problems. They kind of reached an end where they didn't really see any hope for themselves. And so rather than seeking help or doing what a normal person would do, they radicalized. They looked for excuses, looked for ways to try to blame others for their problems, and then to lash out. And what ISIS does, this is sort of terrorism in the social media age, it allows people to kind of glom onto their brand. Just by the act of committing terrorism, you become part of ISIS, regardless of whether you've been recruited or trained or have any weapons from them. You become part of the club. And so that's what we see in both these cases. People who had the aspiration of doing something bad, they used ISIS for an excuse, and then tried to take credit for this being an act of jihad instead of just a wanton act of violence.
So maybe a sense of purpose. You kind of hinted at this. ISIS probably, or Islamic State, may not have an awareness of these individuals here, sort of lone wolves that get inspired by this, or are there cases where they do have knowledge but maybe not an active role?
Yeah, and what we are seeing, in addition to the lone wolf cases, which are certainly disturbing, there are organizations within the ISIS universe. There's this group called ISIS-K that's based out of Afghanistan that does seem to have international aspirations. They do try to put people in the field and try to train people for complex acts of terrorism. That's kind of the nightmare scenario. That's what we saw in an attack in Moscow in March, also an attack in Iran. So that possibility is still out there. We're fortunate, I guess, if you could say that the attacks that we've seen have mostly been these lone wolf attacks and not groups of people trying to act together. But of course, that could always change.
Joby, we talked about the planned attack in Austria. Fortunately, that, again, was foiled. How effective do you see law enforcement being in addressing this new kind of threat?
Well, the remarkable thing about the Austrian case, reporting on it, was that the law enforcement community collected a lot of material. And we know that because we've seen these transcripts, these sort of hundreds of text messages literally between the suspect in Vienna and people who we thought were in ISIS or just others we thought might be collaborators. And what you marvel at is the ability of Western intelligence agencies to find these individuals online, to detect patterns of behavior that seem suspicious, and then to literally monitor conversations. And that's what led to the arrest in this case and the foiling of what could have been a very dangerous plot. That doesn't always happen. In the United States, when we have radicalized individuals, our laws don't allow us to eavesdrop at people at random. You have to have a reason, a warrant, a court order. And so that's perhaps why we didn't detect the New Orleans attacker in advance. But sometimes, and particularly overseas, our NSA, our intelligence community, is pretty good at sniffing these things out.
Interesting. And ISIS no longer rules any territory, but certainly still having a voice that raises a lot of alarms. Joby Warrick with the Washington Post. Appreciate you being with us tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.